Today we are going to discuss the ancient history of the Lyra star system and the Sirius star system. This information comes from Billy Meyer. In other words, it originates from the Pleiades he frequently encountered. First of all, the origin of the Lyra civilization and why they came to our Milky Way galaxy dates back a very long time ago, approximately 26 million years ago. The Lyran were originally living in another galaxy. Their galaxy began to collide with another galaxy. In fact, the origin of the Lyran is not from our Milky Way galaxy. They immigrated to our galaxy much later. Around 26 million years ago. They resided in that galaxy where a serious problem arose: the collision with another galaxy known as the M83 galaxy. This galaxy is located approximately 6.3 billion light-years away from Earth, and can be observed in the skies above the southern hemisphere countries such as Australia, New Zealand, and Argentina. It is relatively close to our Milky Way galaxy. The M83 galaxy is also known as the Southern Pinwheel Galaxy. NASA's Hubble Space Telescope once captured an image at a distance of approximately 6.3 billion light-years, while the width of the Milky Way itself is about 100,000 light-years. Therefore, the distance of 6.3 billion light-years is many thousands of times larger than the width of the Milky Way. However, the distances between each galaxy are incredibly vast, so 6.3 billion light-years is already very close in cosmic terms. So, the Lyran resided in the M83 galaxy, and the situation there was extremely dangerous, forcing them to undertake a massive migration to escape. They couldn't continue living on those two planets, so they set out for a third planet. They discovered that our Milky Way galaxy was very close and relatively young, with a history of only 6.6 billion years. It was a very new and young galaxy. Therefore, around 26 million years ago, they conducted a large-scale migration to our Milky Way galaxy. At that time, their own galaxy experienced destruction as the entire galaxy started colliding with each other. A significant number of Lyran migrated to what we now refer to as the Lyra constellation, which is a constellation within the Milky Way galaxy. The massive migration took place, but those Lyran were identical to us, humans. Their civilization has a history of approximately 1.35 billion years, even tracing back to 9 billion years ago. Their civilization is far more advanced than ours, with a civilization capable of surviving for over 1 billion years. It's truly fascinating to ponder the extent of their development. Their history surpasses that of the Milky Way galaxy and Earth. The existence of these extraterrestrial civilizations often spans longer periods than the birth and destruction phases of an ordinary galaxy. Their civilization's history is incredibly ancient, and of course, they have experienced numerous wars and fluctuating periods, as is the nature of the universe. This holds true for most human civilizations in the cosmos as well. They evolve from the Stone Age to highly intelligent stages and then regress back to primitive states, similar to the Stone Age. Sometimes, a civilization may take millions of years to reach an advanced stage of development. At times, these civilizations also infiltrate Earth, influencing our culture and society. On the other hand, I believe they are incredibly patient, engaging in genetic engineering, playing the role of deities, providing assistance to civilizations, and more. They excel at waiting for long periods. Their average lifespan is approximately 1,000 years, compared to our human average lifespan of around 100 years. They live much longer. So, Why humans have a lifespan of around 100 years is a different story, which can be discussed later. They migrate from one galaxy to another through enormous spacecraft known as migration vessels. These migration vessels are incredibly massive, with diameters reaching up to 120 kilometers. 120 kilometers, that's like a large city, and it can take the form of a long cylinder or a spherical shape. On average, extraterrestrial migration ship can accommodate around 1 million people. They may use several hundred or even thousands of migration ships to transfer the entire population of one planet to another over the course of a century or even longer. Some of these migration ships are very ancient, with histories spanning tens of millions of years, but they are regularly maintained. These ships do not remain stationary within a single star system but rather orbit around the star systems. There are many areas on board for supplying food, water, and medical facilities, as well as ample accommodation space. In reality, the time for boarding and disembarking is much longer than the flight time. It only takes a few hours to travel from Earth to the destination, but it takes 26 years for a ship to load and 26 years unload 1 million people. The flight time is relatively short compared to the time spent boarding and disembarking. These ancient migration ships are primarily used for large-scale retreats between interstellar planets. The evacuation process takes approximately half a century to complete the evacuation of one planet, because the time for boarding and disembarking is longer than the flight time. For such advanced civilizations, these basic issues should be resolved, such as water and power supply, food, and so on. The ship should have an ecosystem that operates in a constant cycle, and hygiene conditions must be well monitored to prevent outbreaks of diseases from spreading throughout the entire ship. Even coups frequently occur on board. They began migrating to the Lyra constellation around 26 million years ago, and that's when they started referring to themselves as Lyran. At that time, there were no advanced human civilizations in the entire Milky Way galaxy because the galaxy had not yet evolved to that stage of civilization. However, when the Lyran arrived in the Milky Way galaxy, they were already the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. So the Lyran began migrating and colonizing hundreds of celestial bodies in both the Vega and Lyra constellations. They continued to expand, and as their numbers grew, based on Earth's history, whenever a civilization colonizes another place, it often brings disaster, just like when Europeans arrived in South America and killed many of the native inhabitants. Similar situations occurred in the cosmos when the Lyran colonized the Milky Way galaxy around 26 million years ago. They found that the local beings were easily subjugated, so they began establishing an empire called the Lyra Star Empire. The empire required slaves to sustain itself, so the Lyran not only colonized, but also started conquering thousands of star systems because their technology was highly advanced. Time has come for now. We will continue discussing this topic in the next episode. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching.